Okay, good morning. This is N4LQ, and this is the Old Friends Net. The Old Friends Net is a amplitude modulation only net, primarily interested in boat anchors, vintage gear, and whatever kind of junk you can throw together to get some AM out of it. CQ, the Old Friends Net. This is N4LQ. My name is Steve. QTH is Shelby, North Carolina. We use the round table method of checking in and turning it over to each other. So give me a call and give me your call sign, and I'll put it all in a order as they check in, and we can start the round table right away. So give N4LQ a call.
WB4ARK. K4GDN. WF2U.
N4OZI.
WB4NKL. W4MEC.
W4VRO. K4VWD.
Okay, that was beautiful. Let's see, here's what I copied. WB4ARK and K4GDN and WF2U, N4OZI, WB4NKL, W4MEC, W4VRO, and K4VWD. Any more check-ins? Call now.
K4JAL.
I got you, Jimmy. K4JAL. Anybody else want to check into the Old Friends Net? Call now. All right, real quick down the list, ARK to GDN, F2U, OZI, NKL, MEC, VRO, VWD, and last but not least, JAL. And then back to me, N4LQ. Interested in what you're running for a rig this morning, and any projects you've been working on, anything you're looking for, anything you're thinking about getting rid of. So I'm running the AF-68 Elmac here and driving an AL-1200 amplifier to about just a mere 200 watts this morning, and the horizontal loop antenna. So buddy, how are you doing this morning? Over to you first. WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Okay, Steve. Well, all the signals are very strong today. It's a clear day here. Lots of sun peeking up over the eastern trees, and looks like we're going to have a cool day today. Still finishing up the ART-13 of Charlie's, and I have a couple of questions for Charlie. I was wondering if you have a power supply to operate this unit other than the dynamotor. Jimmy, I wonder if you have your malachite receiver working and how that has turned out. So that's about it for right now. So we'll turn it over to George. K4GDN, WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN, and the band seems to be in pretty good condition this morning. I'm running the Ranger 2 into the 811 linear, I guess putting out about 150 watts carrier, and I'm receiving on the NC300 that Charlie brought down from Glenn last week. And I think most everybody's coming in here pretty good. I think I had a little trouble copying Charlie and Ray, but other than that, everybody seems to be coming in fairly well here. I'm on the center-fed dipole this morning, as opposed to the vertical or the in-fed dipole. And like I say, putting out about 150 watts and listening on the NC300. And Steve, I'll have some comments about your your questions about Myrtle Beach the next time around. I'll probably do an old buzzard transmission on that. So with that, I'll turn it to Mir. WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Roger, K4GDN and the group. This is WF2U. Good morning, everybody. Conditions are pretty good. The bend is very quiet, and it's 52 degrees here. It's sunny. Nice fall-like day. And this morning, back to the old standby Yaesu equipment from the early 1980s. The FR101 Delta receiver, FL101 transmitter, working into the FL2100B linear, putting out, let's see, just about 300 watts. Yeah, about 300 watts peak. And the antenna is an 80-meter end-fed half-wave, about 40 feet, but it goes through some tree tops, so it's there might be some attenuation from the foliage and whatnot, as it I have to clear it from the tree, and when all the leaves are gone, I'm going to do a little fishing expedition with an extra rope that I'm going to shoot over it and pull it away from the treetop. But right now, that's the way it is. It seems to be working okay. George is actually the weakest at this point. Only quote unquote 5.8 to 9. Nice copy anyway. And so far I see signals. Let's see. Steve, you are 20 to 25 over 9. A little QSB. Buddy, 15 to 20. And then I'll give reports in the next round after I can get readings on everybody here. So N4OZI, this is WF2U.
Okay, Mir, WF2U in the net. This is N4OZI. Very good. Got a good copy on everybody. Band is really improving as we get into the fall. That's really good. Just curious, Steve, when you guys gonna get back on 160? I was listening around to 160 last night. It was sounding pretty nice, but just curious on that. Running the Flex 6400 here into the Ameritron, and got working on a 200V. I have two 200Vs and one 100V. All of them need to be recapped, so I got the first one in there. It takes a dozen electrolytics. The big electrolytics I already have. They're 250 microfarad at 450 volts. That's a 3 of them in there. I have those. It's the other ones I don't have, but I got them on order for one of them. I'll do one of these transmitters at a time because that's a pretty expensive recap. But they need to be done. I'm going to get them done, and that'll certainly improve things. Only other thing working on, I picked up a KWM2 at Huntsville and rebuilt the power supply and recapped it, and it's very early KWM2 and had it on 80-meter sideband on the net in the evenings, and it's not bad. It's actually doing real well. So been very happy with that purchase from Huntsville. Keep it going. Over to you, Cliff. WB4NKL to take it. This is N4OZI.
N4OZI, WB4NKL. Okay, sounds good. I've got a 200V on the shelf over here I need to look at sometime. Interesting rigs. Not too much ago on here. I checked, had a regular doctor's appointment yesterday, and I'd had some sinus drainage, so they checked me, and I checked COVID positive, so got the COVID, and got to stick around here close for a few days. Excuse me, I guess you can tell it. But the wife, she checked yesterday, and she's positive also, so I haven't had any problems except for the drainage, but she's having a little more trouble. She's had a temperature and having a little rougher time with it than what I am. I still get out and walk. Haven't missed a day walking 5 miles, so I've got to get back to that here in a little bit. Everybody's coming in good. I'm running the Globe King 500 today, and good signals all the way around. Everybody's coming in great. So we'll send it on around. W4MEC, WB4NKL.
Okay, real good. WB4NKL and the old French W4MEC. Good morning, everybody. It's a balmy 55 degrees outside, and it's partly cloudy. I don't know, what do you call when you just see blue sky and white fluffy things? Partly cloudy or just nice? It's nice. and good day out there today. Let's see. A question to Buddy is, no, all I've got is a dyno motor and about 150 amp 28 volt supply, but I did put together the parts I was needing to build a AC supply, and I think I've got them all here. I can't remember. I believe I've got all the parts. So anyway, I could build one, and I was starting to build one. Matter of fact, I was throwing all the odds and ends in a chassis that I was going to build it on. So the answer to that question is yes and no. Don't forget, think about Dave today. He's going in for, I think, preliminary work on his hip replacement. If not having it done today, I can't remember. I think he said he was going in for tests today or checks or something. So keep him in your prayers. Let's see, what was the other thing that went in and out of my mind? I was going to make a comment on the COVID. This is a question I have pondered, and I don't know who to ask, even if anybody would answer you honestly. COVID is a coronavirus, the same thing that the common cold is, and flu is, and COVID is. So I would like to know, if you have nothing but a runny nose and a common cold, if you test positive for COVID. So but who do you ask and get an honest answer out of that? I don't know. But the coronaviruses have been around with us for a very long time. So it's nothing new, in other words. So hopefully you get over it real quick, and hopefully what you would consider my question there would be whether if you just have a runny nose, they're going to call it COVID or not. So let's see, it goes down to Ray, W4VRO in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC and the net, W4VRO. Very good, Charlie. Good morning. Good morning, Steve, and good morning to everyone on the net. The band is quiet and conditions are good this morning. Charlie, I don't know the answer to that. Cliff, okay on the COVID. I'm thankful that this time around the strain is apparently pretty easy on everybody and brief compared to the original. So I think you can expect a quick recovery, and I certainly hope so. Buddy, okay on the ART-13, still sounding good. Charlie, Buddy is holding on to that ART-13 a long time. Might think about that a little bit. He might need a spare. Mayor, it's good to hear you. I think it's a little unusual for you to check in on Tuesday mornings, but good to hear you. And I'm glad you're back on the Yazoo Twins. Strong signal and sounding good. George copying you about 25%. When you checked in, you were 100% on that brief check-in, and I thought I had hopes, but copying you at least part of the time. Alan, strong signal as always, and I'm glad you still have several things there to work on and keep you busy. Charlie, strong signal as always, and you too, Lee. And Jimmy, very strong signal. So, Dave, I didn't realize he was getting ready for a hip operation, but hope all that goes well with him. And so it goes to you, Lee. K4VWD in the group, W4VRO.
W4VRO, K4VWD. Well, thank you, Ray. Good morning to you. Yeah, I'm sure Dave will appreciate prayers this morning. It's 61 degrees and partly cloudy here at my house in Greenville, and I'm running my normal rig, my number 2 AF-68, about 35 watts output to my dipole through the 10-take tuner, and listening on my PMR8 receiver. So things are fine here at my house. And Jimmy, down to you, or over to you, I guess would be better put. K4NJL, K4JAL. This is K4VWD.
K4VWD, K4JAL. You're coming in good. Your rig sounds good. Mir, that's the best I've ever heard you. You're really strong today. David was supposed to have had his hip replacement early this morning, so let's all think about Dave. And buddy, I do have the malachite. It works really good when you put it on an antenna. I haven't interfaced it to my notebook yet, so I can see everything better. I've got a mobile rig I'm going to put on my truck when we get down to the beach next week. And I'm going to try to listen to the networks, to the old friends and so forth. I doubt I can get them, but I'm going to try. Mobile antennas are new to me, so it's always a learning curve, I guess. I guess it goes back to Brother Steve. N4LQ, K4JAL.
Yes, sir, it does. That was a good round. This N4LQ and the old friends net. Somebody else want to check in late? Go ahead. This N4LQ. All right, guess not. Somebody was throwing a pretty good carrier on us there, having fun, I guess. One more time, listening for any late check-ins. Give me a call. I didn't hear a thing. Anyway, well, that's a good round, and Buddy's ART-13 sounding good. George Ranger 2 sounds good. And I'm glad your NC300 is picking us up there. Mir's Yasus are doing a great job. Good strong signal here this morning. I guess you're not hurting no doggies this morning, huh? And Alan, the 6400, good, kind of bassy, you know, but I can tell it's a flex. But you can probably bring up the mids and the highs on that thing, but otherwise it sounds very smooth and silky sounding and real fine on the 200V Central Electronics with a little scope in it. I've never seen one of those in action. Does that scope actually work? And I just wonder if you can see a trapezoid on there or what you see when you look at it. Be interested to hear a little more about that. And Cliff, on the big Globe King 500, sounds like $1 million. And the COVID mess, well, that's somebody, was that Charlie asked about the, yeah, so they're still diagnosing it as COVID. I wonder if they call it COVID-19, because that was, COVID-19 was a unique thing that had supposedly never arisen before. So there you go. All of a sudden now everybody's got it. There's been like 1,000 variants of that offshoot. And yeah, it's a common cold is also a coronavirus, and so is the flu. And those tests they run are about 50% correct. So it's either it is or it ain't. It's about like a weather report, 50% chance of rain. If it rains, you got it. If it doesn't rain, you're right too. So either way, you got it right. I don't know about getting out and walking 5 miles. I would think maybe a little rest to be in order. If you got the bug, you might want to just take it easy. And Ray, I think you're the only one that didn't say what you're running. That I think sometimes you run a Viking 500. Maybe you're on that. Sounds like it. You're good and strong here. And Lee, on your AF-68, 35 watts, 10/9, great signal up here, no problem whatsoever. And Jimmy's 32V sounds good. All two of you. Sounds like you got somebody else in the shack, and he sounds just like you, but he's a little bit behind. Sort of an echo. But I know you like to play around with Bluetooth or something there. I'm not sure what it is you do with all the echoes and everything, but it sounds cool. I like that. That's kind of reminds me of Wolfman Jack playing the top 40. So it's 59 degrees here. I think it's going to get up in the 70s, maybe, if it ever does. Got cold last night, about 53. So looking for the next snow. So buddy, over to you. WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Checking my frequency there because I had moved my dial. Well, okay, Jimmy, on the malachite, that'll be interesting. I wonder, supposed to have a very good sensitivity, 0.3 microvolts, and I wonder how well it works on like a small pull-up antenna attached to the front. And maybe Steve could elaborate on that. I think he's done more experimenting with the malachite. Thanks everyone on the reports of the output of the ART-13. And Charlie, I think as long as you keep the 400 volt level, just about 400 volts, you'll be doing the unit a good service. You don't want to get too high on that voltage. If you could, in repayment, if you could supply tubes 1625 and an 837 new, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, you can just reimburse me for the cost of those. Don't worry about the Type L capacitor. And so this unit could not have worked as it was presented to me with the auto-tunes section messed up and the idler gear missing from the A section. And even if that had been right, it still would not have worked because there was two connections in the A unit that would have prevented the unit from working. It was pretty much a dead unit when I got it, but it's a fairly nice unit. It definitely is not the worst I've seen. I think Ken Woodward's was probably the one of the worst ones. I had to start from scratch on rebuilding that one because it had been sitting up for quite some time and had parts taken off of it, so that was hard to redo that one, and it was rather expensive. I used Fair Radio to replace the panels, and one of the auto-tune section, the C section, had been parts taken off of it, so that was necessary to replace basically the whole unit, which worked out better. All of the small doorknob capacitors on the bottom plate of the C unit had been removed, so it was a real problem finding all of the correct capacitors, which is for the tuning section. Well, that's about it for the ART. I think there's much more to it, which I will go over with Charlie when I see him. There's no need in sending a long, drawn-out email when I can tell you in a few minutes exactly what I did and what was wrong with it. So we'll go with that, and I think I'll turn it over to George. George, you've got a good signal in here to Lake Wiley today, as you usually do. K4GDN, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK in the groups, K4GDN, and the ART-13 sounds really good there, buddy. And I'm sure Charlie will enjoy that. And Steve, my comments about Myrtle Beach, crime is a major problem back here. There's a shooting virtually every day in Horry County, and the same is true in some of the adjacent counties up in north of South Carolina, with the exception of Georgetown, which is a little further to the south. And I think the reason that Georgetown is a little more stable is that there's less transients there. One thing I noticed when we first moved here to Myrtle Beach in Horry County, there's just no sense of community at all. And it's because nobody's from here. I have not met a dozen people who grew up in Horry County, and probably not, I don't know a dozen that even grew up in South Carolina. I have no natives that are South Carolinians. That's all New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and no one has any connections to the area. The other problem is the infrastructure. All of it is grossly overloaded. Not only the roads, but also the power grid. And last week I was worried I wouldn't be able to get a phone call from Charlie when he got here to transfer the NC300. There were 2 days there where I couldn't receive or send calls or texts. And it turns out they were working on their 5G system somewhere. And it's just really not a very nice place to be. As I say, no sense of community whatsoever. It's one of the trashiest, people just litter unbelievably. And like I say, traffic is very bad. There's really been no major, only one major project that I know of in the last 10 years that's been done here, and it took them forever to get it done, and that was Highway 31, I believe it is. Kind of bypasses around most of Myrtle Beach going up north. But like I say, it's really not a very pleasant place to live. Be that as it may. About 2 more years, we're going to be gone for sure. We'll be back in the upstate. And kind of an interesting sidelight there. We were at a lunch one Sunday after church, and there were three other couples sitting at the table with us, and they were talking about where they were from. They asked us where we were from. We said, well, we were from the upstate. And they said, oh, what part of upstate New York? I said, no, upstate of South Carolina. And they found it a bit hard to believe we were really South Carolinians. Anyway, that's just how it is here in the third world. Signals are pretty good with the exception of Jimmy was pretty weak, but I copied most of Charlie, probably 80 or 90%, and most of Ray. Everybody else is coming in here well. And Lee's 35 watts seems to be doing the job as it always does. So with that, I'll pass it on to Mir. WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Yeah, Roger. K4GDN and the group, this is WF2U. George, your signal dropped by 1 S point since the first round. Maybe conditions are changing. But here is the rest. But if the ART13 sounds really good, I have mine that I used on the old FriendsNet for a long time. I just moved it to another shelf unit, so I just have to cable it up again. All the cables are there, but it's disconnected, and I'll put it back on the air probably the next few weeks. And I've been just very busy. So a lot of stuff that I shuffled around is not connected. And you are 15 over 9 still, and here is the rest of the signal reports. OZI 5 to 10 over 9. Let's see, NKO Cliff 15 to 20 over 9. Of course, the Globe King is doing pretty good signal penetration here, and Charlie about S9 plus 5 dB, Ray 10 over 9, Lee 10 over 9, and Jimmy was just about 5 to 10 over 9 also. And Tuesday mornings are usually free unless I have some chores to do around the house early and around whatever. It's not my herding day. My herding practice mornings are Wednesdays and Thursdays, and so Tuesday, if I can, I get on here. Sometimes I get involved with something that I can't really or don't want to stop in the middle while I was doing something. Then I won't come out to the radio, to the shack, which is a detached building on the other side of the house. So that's when I don't appear on Tuesday mornings. And otherwise, projects here and there. Yeah, I have a few projects, but one thing I haven't used my Gunset G76 for quite a while, about a year and a half or so. So I have to put it back on the shelf. It was out under one of the desks, so I have to put it up again and start running it and make sure that it works okay now, because can get away with a little bit less power now that the conditions are starting to come back. And otherwise, what other projects I have? Yeah, I have this Japanese marine receiver that I'm working on. It works fine, but it has a few little glitches that I would like to fix. Otherwise, it's annoying, but it works. And what else? Oh yeah, my NC300 started to stop. Kind of goes out into the noise, and looks like it's time to clean it inside a little bit and put some contact cleaner on the band switch, because that's what it is. I just have to rattle it a little bit that it comes back. My DX100, when I lost my antenna, my other antenna, I tried to load it, and it started to get into some oscillations. I have to make sure that it's not something permanent, and try it out with a dummy load. I didn't have time to do that either, because that was also a station that I used pretty frequently on the old Transnet. Well, I don't want to bore the group with all the other probably a dozen projects that I'm still sitting on, but a little bit at a time. There's a lot of work around here too, around the house, maintenance and groundskeeping and whatnot. So with that, it goes to N4OZI. This is WF2U.
Okay, Meter. WF2U is N4OZI. Well, good copy, but the band's starting to go out, so I'll make this one my last one. And I was going to answer your question, Steve. Yeah, the 200V and the 100V transmitters both have scopes in them. They use a little 2AP1 scope, which is fairly common. The circuit is very simple, and it generates a trapezoid pattern, very sharp-looking trapezoid pattern when you transmit. Very helpful to tell you if anything's going on. If it sees something, that trapezoid pattern gets disturbed and shows you. So it's quite an advantage to have it in there. And pretty much they all work because the circuit is simple and the CRT is fairly common. You can still find them for like $30 or something very cheap. And I have a few extra, but I actually never seen one go out. It's a fairly simple circuit, so on those transmitters, it's really kind of nifty. In fact, you could even make a separate little scope for other transmitters if you want. There's a simple circuit for that, and I've made a trapezoid generator for the Drake, but I use a XY Tektronix scope for it, and it beats using that little meter, so that's real handy. Anyway, I'll say 73's band's starting to go out. Certainly good to hear everybody, and I'll keep it going and send it over to you, Cliff, and I'll listen around a little bit, but go ahead and mark me out. WB4NKL to take it. This is N4OZI.
N4OZI, WB4NKL. Yeah, the band's changing, but still had 100% copy of that go around. Yeah, I guess the biggest claim to fame on the Central Electronics transmitters, the broadband aspect. There's no tuning. They use broadband couplers instead of output tuning networks, and it's all mode. It's got modes I've never even heard of on their phase modulation and FM. It's got PM. It's got PM, CW, FSK, AM, upper sideband, and lower sideband. I don't know I've actually heard one on AM, so that'd be interesting in how well they perform on AM. Maybe I'll get around, one of those projects could get around to working on mine one of these days. Charlie, I don't know what the difference is between the coal and and the COVID, which I would have probably just thought I had a cold, but I had a doctor's appointment anyway. It was a checkup, and I told him about the drainage, and they did the test, and that's when they come up with the COVID diagnosis. And I'll still be a little, wondering about that. But then we checked the wife, and she had it too. So who knows? Like I say, I've had colds that are a lot worse, and I had the flu last year that was on a scale of 1, is 10 times as worse the flu that I had last year. So I don't know. This don't feel any different than the colds I've had in the past. I'll say 73s too, and I'm gonna go check on hers. And I've been out here in the radio shack for a while, so I'm gonna go check on the wife. 73s, and I enjoyed it. Go ahead, Charlie. W4 MEC, WB4 NKL. Thanks for calling, Steve.
Very good, Cliff. WB4 NKL in the group W4 MEC. All right. Good signals all around that time. Also, everybody's booming in here. And let's see, on the tubes there, buddy, I know I've got some new 1625s. I mentioned I had 813s, but I can't check them. And they're of unknown condition, even though they look very nice. Of course, I mentioned to you also, I had read or heard somewhere that if 813s, especially for some reason, if they sit in the box for years, they actually get gassy, like the base seals leak or something. But I will double check and see if I have a brand new 813 still in the box, not used. And I believe I do, but I have to do a little digging. Or you could just take that tube out, and I'll try one of the several 813s I have, and you could hold on to your good one. So you might consider that. But I'll do some checking here, see what I can find. I really appreciate all the work on that thing. And now, Mira, I thought you mentioned, when you got that from the guy you got it from, he said it was working, but according to Buddy, it would have never worked. So I can't remember where you said you got that thing, at Shelby or something, and it was one of those, it was working and I just disconnected it deals, but it didn't work. I got as far as firing it up and getting it going there and watching the auto tune just spin around, not lock onto anything. So, and it's sat here for a year, at least a year, and I just never got around to it. And Buddy's the resident guru, so I said, "Why beat my head against a rock? Give it to Buddy." So it's worked out well. Let's see what else here. And I've got an amp coming to me from Kim Norton. He mentioned, I can't remember if he mentioned that at the Ham Fest, at the lunch or not, but I ended up going to hook up with him. He's coming up here tomorrow to go have dinner with his family, and I'm going to meet him out here at the interstate and get that amp from him, see what's going on with it. So, other than that, and I need to get down to Lee's there and get his and all that stuff we got to do with him. So, and I'm hoping to time a trip to pick up if Buddy's not coming to lunch next month, time a trip to go pick up the R13 and on the way back stop in Shelby and get the AF-68 for Lee and hook all those together somehow. So we'll see. W4VRO in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC and the net, W4VRO. Very good, Charlie. And very good all the way around. Conditions are changing, but still copied everybody solid except George. And copied part of his transmission. Steve, before I forget it, Alan and Cliff, if you're still listening, 73. Really good to hear both of you, and hope you have a good day and a good week. Steve, I did forget to mention the equipment, and it's good you ask for that. It's always interesting, even though often we're using the same equipment. I am, anyway. Others of you change fairly often. But the rig is, you guessed it, Steve, the Johnston 500, and that is feeding an inverted V antenna. And the power is 350 watts carrier. And I probably wouldn't normally run that much power, but I do for two or three reasons. I'm in the fringe of the net, and I think if I ran 100 watts, some of you would not be able to copy me. Certainly not as well anyway. And it's the Johnson 500 just loves it. I mean, this is a fun rig, and I used the 7300 ICOM some with the amplifier, but the Johnson is a lot more fun. And that's the third reason. The watt meter on a voice peak once in a while just kicks up there at the, well, fairly often kicks up there to 1400, 1500 watts, and that looks good. So that's the rig story, and it's good that we have a reminder of what everybody's using very often. It's been a good net, Steve. Thank you for calling the net. It's been really good. And Cliff, I wanted to comment also. That Globe King sounds great, really. Every time I hear it, it's just no hum. I've heard a lot of them that had a little hum. I remember Joe. I'm sure all of you do. When he was using his Globe King 500, he often had a little hum. It was not bothersome. It was well below his audio level, but he was constantly working on that. And it seems for some reason Globe Kings sometimes have a little hum, probably because of their age and the need of some maintenance. But I've enjoyed it, and hope all of you, wish both all of you the best of 73s. See you next time. Over to you, Lee, K4VWD, W4VRO.
Okay, Ray, W4VRO, K4VWD, well, 7-3. Hope you have a blessed week. I look forward to talking to you on Thursday morning. Let's see, Charlie, I have calibrated my Elmac S meter that I got from Dave with the HRO S meter, so nobody's pegging the meter today. But Steve, you're 20 over, maybe a little better, and Ray, you were too, and Cliff too, so about there. Charlie is 10 over, so anyway, George, you're down about an S4, so I was having very difficult time. I could catch a word every now and then. So I was glad to get this S meter calibrated with the HRO since you had calibrated it. So maybe I'm more accurate now. And thank you, Steve, for doing the net. I appreciate it, and appreciate you working on the AF-68 too. And Charlie, I sure look forward to seeing you when you can make it. No big hurry. Thank you. And with that, 7-3, God bless, but I'll be listening to the end. K4JAL. This is K4VWD.
K4VWD, this is K4JAL. Well, it has been a good net. Signals have been good. Steve, you know me. I had the SDR plane playing in the background, so I wouldn't been jacked on you. I do good to get here, and you know that. I'm going to stay 7-3 and get on out of here. Got a lot of stuff to do. So back over to you. N4LQ, K4JAL, 7-3 and clear.
Okay, yeah, Jimmy. The more of you, the better, is what I say. Anybody else want to check into the net? Real late, but call now. N4LQ.
Morning, Steve and everybody. W4KR.
Well, hello, Stan. W4KR. Go ahead and give us a little talk, and we'll sit back and listen and turn it back to me.
All right, we'll do that. N4LQ. And everybody that's left, W4KR. I've been sitting there listening for about a half an hour, Steve. Lee, Jimmy, Buddy, Charlie, who did I miss? Cliff? Then I can say, and Ray. Ray, you're you're rocking the boat over here this morning. Rig, what's the run? It's the usual Viking 2, and the 75 A2. That's what I got on here this morning, which is the usual stuff for here. Anyway, not too much to report. Did talk to John yesterday. Had a chance to chat with John on the phone a little bit yesterday. I noticed he's not here this morning. His wife's coming along fine. She had some medical thing there that got taken care of, and I don't know if she's home yet or not, but she should be pretty quick. And that's about what I know. That's about what I know this morning. One of these days, and I got about a half a dozen projects sitting here in the queue, and not much ambition right now. Sure haven't had much ambition to do much during the summer. We'll see if things get better in the fall, but I can see putting an ART-13 in the queue eventually. Had one at one time, and I sold it at Dalton several years ago, and I wish I'd have kept it. But anyway, with that, back to you, Steve, and good job this morning. N4LQ and the Old Friends Group, W4KR.
All right, Stan. W4KR, N4LQ. I think I've got the ART-13 syndrome out of my system. I think I'm on the road to recovery, but I don't think I'll be doing that again. Last time I had one here, I sold it and packed it up, and that's what started my back problem. So anyhow, it's gone, and I had one back when I was a teenager and never did get it to actually work because I had no idea what I was doing. But I did get it to, I got the knobs to spin on it, and that was fascinating to watch. And I got the filaments to light up and the knobs to spin, but I didn't put any high voltage on it. So it never transmitted, and it was new. I mean, it was one of those Mars military things that I got for free that somebody gave me. So anyhow, on the malachite, well, buddy, just for kicks, I got my malachite out after you asked that question, and pulled up the antenna and switched over to high Z. You got to go into the hardware menu and switch the menu over to high Z antenna from 50 ohms to high Z, which is the whip. And I walked outside and I listened to Mir. He was transmitting at the time. And walked out to the end of the driveway. That's about 100 feet from the house, and got the garbage can. The garbage men had done their duty and drug it back to the house, and Mir was still transmitting, and gosh, I stood out there for a long time and listened to him. And then let's see, Alan came on, and I was actually copying him. He's a lot farther away. And then Cliff came on, and he was strong on the malachite on that little whip out in the driveway. Sounded real good. And so at that time I came back in, pushed the whip back down and set it down and listened to the rig here in the shack. So I'm telling you, it's amazing. Now I don't think I could have heard George. That's for sure. But as long as you had a good signal here, I was able to copy with the whip antenna. And Alan, thanks for the information on the scope. That's interesting. On the Central Electronics 200V or 100V, whatever, I guess they're kind of the same. And that broadband tuning sounds like a nice feature. Never had one, and maybe somebody has a video on YouTube that we can watch. I don't know. I'll take a look. And Ray, your Johnson 500 sounds good and fine on being out on the fringe of the old Friends net. That's reminded me of the old TV antenna advertisements. Fringe antennas made to pick up for 200, 300 miles away. Yeah, right. And Lee, I'll bring your AF-68 to the luncheon. As far as I know, I'll be there, unless Charlie happens to show up to pick it up. That's fine. We can just wait till the luncheon, and I'll bring it along. And I guess you'll get the honors of putting it back in the cabinet. You didn't give me that, and that can be a real pain in the neck. Sometimes they just don't want to fit, and it takes 4 hands to put them in. Sometimes I can put it up on its back and drop it down in there, and they'll go in, but usually it takes a lot of finagling. And Stan, your Viking 2 sounds great. Sounds like we had a net full of boat anchors this morning. Well, it's been enjoyable, and I think I'll go ahead and shut the net down, but wish you all a good week, and I guess our next round will be Sunday at 6:30 p.m. here on 3715 kilo cycles. And with that, we'll say have a great day, 73s, and this is N4LQ closing down the old Friends net. Goodbye.
We got a Thursday net, Steve.
Yeah, 9 a.m. on Thursday. Don't forget that.
Thanks for doing the net, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Good net. Stan, good morning. Good to hear you. W4VR, Eau Claire.
Yeah, likewise. Good job, Steve. Take care. We'll see you. See you Thursday morning.
Hey, great job of forgetting the net. Thursday at 9 a.m., 3715. And then Sunday. I'll try to do better the next time. 73, N4LQ.
73 all. Thanks, Steve, for running the net, and take care, everybody. I won't be here Thursday. And take care, all. Have a great week. This is WFDU Clear.
Thank you, Steve. K4VWD's clear.
Ray, if you've got some time tonight, hit 3885 about 7 o'clock. The big show will be on again.
Thanks for the reminder. I need to do that from time to time. I made myself a note. Hope I can be there. Thanks, man. W4VR.
Yep, we'll see you.